Hello everyone. Today I'm going to give you a beginner tutorial for Unity on how to navigate around and use some of the most common tools, and then we're going to make a simple car and learn how to make that car a prefab. So this is the first screen you should get when you open a new project on Unity after you downloaded it. And if it doesn't look like that, if you go to Window, Layouts, and Default, it'll bring you back to this screen. And same thing if you ever drag something around and it looks off and you want to come back here, just go Window, Layout, and Default, and it'll get you to this view. So you can see in the top left, you have the hierarchy screen, which will have all the different scenes, and in each scene, there's each different object. If you click this arrow, it'll collapse it off so you don't see it, but they're still there. And then in here, we have the scene editor, which shows all the different objects, everything inside the scene that you've clicked on. If you had multiple scenes and you clicked on a different scene, it would show whichever scene you clicked on in here. Then we have the inspector, which will give more information about an object that you click on. And then below we have the assets folder, which has all the different scenes in here. So first things first, we have our scene. Each scene has a camera, a light, and objects. So to add an object, and add a cube for simplicity's point of view. And basically see the cube here. The first thing is we need to figure out how to move around and how to look around. So you can see the cube from different angles, different perspectives, or any object really. And the first way is with this little grabber button up here. And it basically moves your perspective around, not the camera. The camera stays the same. The camera is what the player sees. So this moves you around, just gives you the perspective. It doesn't really change the angle that you're looking at. And to do that, you have to hold right click, and that'll change the direction you're facing in terms of the planes up here, X, Y, and Z. Another cool trick is when you're holding right click, you can use WSD to move forward, back, side to side. And while you're moving around the screen, this can be really useful for looking around. And then, yeah, that's how you move around. And then this grabber button should be noted. If you press the mouse wheel, it'll bring you to the grabber, and when you release it, it'll put you back to whatever tool you're on before. Speaking of tools, this is the mover tool. It moves the position of an object. So you can see up here how the position is changing in the inspector. The X is changing because I'm clicking on the X axis mover, Y, Z, same stuff. And you see these little planes in here. That's if you want to move it in two directions. So the green one on the bottom, let's move it in X and Y, or X and Z. And then these all move in two different planes. And yeah, that's the mover. The next one is the rotator tool, and that can rotate in any of these different axes, or if you're not clicking on one of these specific lines, and you click on just the cube in the center, you can move it any direction you want based on how you drag with your mouse. If you ever want to reset it back to 0, you can just select it in the inspector, click 0, 0, 0. And then the last tool I'm going to show is the scale tool, which allows you to stretch it in any direction. These all move in one direction, but if you want to scale everything up or down, you can click the center cube, and going up will make it bigger, small will make it smaller, and it'll keep the same exact dimensions basically. And then this tool is for user interface. We're not going to touch that for now. And then this tool does all three: the mover, scale, and rotate. And it should be noted that you can also, instead of clicking on all these, you can press Q, W, E, R, T, or Y to access all of them, which is very useful and can make things a lot quicker. So, now let's try to make a car. And to that, we're going to start this cube. I'm going to go back to the scaler and make it a little thinner. This is going to be the base of the car. And then this is going to be the bottom. And then we're going to add a new cube to go on top. You can see it's hidden in the other cube. So we're going to bring it up. By pressing R, we get to the scaler again. Make it pretty similar length. A little wider. This from the top. Again, if you press W, you get to the mover. That looks a little off, and make that look a little better. There we go. That's like the base of our car. And then now we need wheels. So to get a wheel, we're going to go, instead of going to cube, we're going to go to cylinder. And then cylinder, we can move it out so we can see it better. And then we're going to make it, give the dimensions more like a wheel. That looks about right. And then we're going to rotate it 90 degrees. So we can either do it like this and get it about 90, or we can go here and type in 90 exactly, and now do the trick. Actually, we need it another 90 to get it lined up with the car face. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to move it in for the car, and move it out. And then we could do the same exact thing and just create a new object and rotate it, scale it each time, or we can duplicate the wheel by either right-clicking it and pressing duplicate, or clicking edit, duplicate, or control D. So I'm going to do control D, and then there's two wheels there. You can see they're labeled cylinder now, but we could rename them if we wanted to. And then that's the second wheel, control D. Can change my angle here. The third wheel, and then control D, fourth wheel. There you have it. That's our car. You can see as base, two wheels, and top. Clearly a very basic car, but still a car. And then say you wanted to make changes to the car. If you want to move it, you can't just select one thing and move it, because that'll only move like the base, for example. So I'll do Control Z to undo it. You have to highlight everything. So click on one, hold Shift, then click the bottom. That'll select everything. This will let you move the car together, or rotate everything equally, or scale everything equally. But a better way to organize all this, and a simpler way so you don't have to highlight everything, is to create a new game object that's empty. And then this can be basically a filler object that we're going to rename car. And then we're going to select everything once and drag it inside the car. And you notice if you go below it, it'll just move it on the hierarchy, or above it, same thing. You have to get it all selected so it goes inside the car. And then have this little drop down arrow. And then now when you select that car, you can do the same thing with scaling, moving, all that fun stuff. And if you wanted to create more cars, say you want like 10 cars in your scene, you could just press duplicate from right click or edit or control D like before, or you can do what's called a prefab. And a prefab is basically a template object that you can easily copy and add in. And it's useful if you want to make changes to, say you put 5 different cars in and you have a cars prefab, then if you change the prefab version, it will change all 5 cars. So it can be useful there. And yeah. So the way to make a prefab is to get the outside object and just drag it into the assets folder. That creates, you can see all prefabs, that's the car. Just go back to assets. If you double click on the car, it shows you the prefab. But if you go back to up here, it shows you, if you go back to the scene, we won't save for now, it'll show you the car. And then it automatically duplicated when we clicked on the car prefab. So yeah, if you make changes to the prefab, or first let's let's duplicate the car a couple times. So we can keep duplicating. So you can see we have 3 cars here. And if you make changes to one of them, none of the others change. But if you make changes to the prefab, and we open it, and then make a change, yeah, stretch it wider, or no, let's make it longer, let's make it like a limo. Then we unselect and go back to the scene. Then we have the limo here. So that's pretty useful. It changes all the cars to limos. And then, yeah, so that's what the prefab can do. And that's how you make a car and navigate around Unity and just make a simple block car. Hope you learned something.